This is our first official game, open the season, I'm playing the Giants. So they say, hey, we're gonna put a play in, and you got to block Lawrence Taylor. And I forget, I said, what? Man, I was so nervous. When I got in my stands, my hands were just shaking, and he was talking. Yeah, you ain't gonna get no fucking 100, yo, fucking rookie. So sure enough, he rushes, I cut him. I'm going back to the huddle, he grabbed me by the arm. He said, hey, you motherfucker, don't you fucking cut me. And I'm thinking, we're gonna laugh. He said, you fucking hear me? I leave the field, I go to the side, I sit on the bench. I said, Right. I said, Bruce, no, man. I said, man, say he gonna kill me. I said, why y'all call that play?
We're here today with Eric Dickerson, Rams legend. Man, I'm really excited to talk about your book, Watch My Smoke. Man. It's a real honor to meet you and have you here, but just to talk about your book and just your life experience, man, I'm really, really excited about it. I listened to the audio. I didn't read it. I listened to the audio.
I don't blame you.
It was
I don't blame you.
Actually,
I did the audio too.
Just you reading your own words, it made me feel, you know, your experiences way more than
reading.
I agree. Yes.
Yeah.
How did you do that? Did you actually sit down and read it like somebody on your lap types?
No, I went to a studio and read it. And I just told the lady outside, I said, and I'm dyslexic. I didn't find out till much later. I mean, my daughter found out she was dyslexic. We found out she was dyslexic when she was about 5 years old, 5 or 6 years old. She couldn't read yet. And some of the stuff that she was looking at was happening with her. It was happening with me, but we didn't think I was born in 1960, man. We didn't know what dyslexia was.
Right.
Yeah.
So like she said, well, it's easy to read it backwards. Like sometimes you even say things backwards.
Yes.
You'll say it backwards. And you're reading, like I'm reading, sometimes my eyes would jump from one, it would just jump all the way down. And I'd go 3 paragraphs below it. So I'd find myself putting my finger and going, line by line, which made it a little bit easier, made it a little easier, but it was a hard process trying to do it, but I'm glad I did it that way.
I think that's incredible. I've had people try and give me the opportunity to do a book, and I've always envisioned myself, if I was going to do a book, to be reading it, because it's something about that. My mom used to read to me. My dad would read if I asked him and got on him. My dad didn't want to read like the kiddie books. He would read it'd be up a step, and it'd be something that he want to read, or a player that had a book and tell me about their experience, and he would read it. So I was used to like a booming voice reading that anyway. So now that I'm older, I do have an interest in going that route. That's why I am so excited.
Yeah, well, you should, if you should do it, because the thing about doing an audio book and you reading it yourself is like, the moments, like the times you had with your dad or with your brothers, or when I did this. If somebody else is reading, they don't know, the like you got excited about something. Or like I'll give you an example. Like one guy in the book I talk about, John Shaw, which is I was general manager, and he had a real like squeaky voice, and I did his voice. When I tell you, he taught me. Well, Eric, you didn't lead the league in rushing last year. And I'm like, John, yes, I did. So I go back in my voice and his voice.
Right.
If someone reading it, they would know that. They would just say, "Oh, I talked to John Shaw, and I told him I led the league." Well, no, you didn't lead the league. So it would just be like that. But I know how he sounded.
Let's take it back to the beginning, though, like in your high school days. Like, talk about the crazy experiences you were having, like in training camps and with teammates. Not just like the negative stuff, but like just the stuff that you benefited from, and it kind of took you to the next level.
Well, my journey started playing football in 7th grade. We didn't have Pop Warner in small towns like they do in big cities. So I started playing football in 7th grade. I won't forget my first football game. We played the Waller Bulldogs. And we were supposed to play on a Thursday, but we got rained out, so we played Saturday morning. And man, I was so nervous. I was so nervous. But I had, it kicked off, and I ran the kickoff back. And after that, I'm like, I just love this sport.
Yeah.
And,
that was your first?
That was my first touchdown. And I think I had 6 touchdowns that day. And I was just like, I just fell in love with it.
Hold up, dog. Yeah. Did you just, your first time playing, you just had 6 touchdowns?
I didn't play varsity, but I played freshman and sophomore football. Never got to that type of point, but I know how that is when when you first get out there, everybody's nervous.
Everybody.
Fuck what they tell you. Everybody out there was shaking.
Exactly.
Like, even if you played beforehand, like we didn't play, we didn't play growing up, but I remember I played a little bit in high school, and it was just everybody had the same look on their face, whether you grew up playing or whether you're just getting into it.
You don't know what you're doing.
When the kickoff started, and if one person just runs it back, you don't. No, that's like it's like a power trip. Like,
yeah.
You don't get that back during the game. I feel like you don't regain something like that. Like that player, he got it today.
Yeah.
He got it today.
Yeah.
Like, don't move aside for him, but he's got it today.
Yeah, it's
like,
just something going on.
I'm sure that's the feeling.
Oh,
like,
man, it was a great feeling. I mean, like I said, it was a feeling that kind of, when I think about my career as playing football, you know, I still kind of went back to that day because, you know, only thing when you break in the open field, you know, and think about when you're playing, but I was in junior high, when you go to college and pro, when you break in the open field, you don't hear the roar. All you hear is yourself just. Then all of a sudden, when you score, then you hear the
yeah.
Then all of a sudden it hits you just like that. I mean, and that's the great feeling about, you know, playing any sport. You know, and for me, I was a track guy. I was fast. I enjoyed running. It was like it was no top speed. It was like running on wind, or running on air. It was just. Like I say, it was really like flying. That's the best way I could put it. Now, you know, I can't do that anymore. I try to run now, man. I run like it's like a creaky old car.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I never enjoyed running shit. I don't enjoy running.
I enjoyed running.
That's crazy. Like,
not distance, just sprints. Like so short stuff.
You go all out.
No, but I'm saying even in those moments, like I've never liked like. People, I could tell playing basketball when somebody liked to run, and it's annoying.
Yeah, because they run.
They go run you into the ground because they don't mind it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he ain't going to mind this sprint. He can't wait to do this sprint. Like, oh, my Lord.
And he's running it back. That's what's crazy. Like, not only is he the running
play
back,
football,
but he's on special teams.
I ain't play football, but if I play football, I ain't letting you score 6 touchdowns and shit. I don't know what's going on. I play basketball, but I don't like that. Bro, if he was dancing and shit 6 times, bro.
Well, you know, think about it. Just say like having 6 touchdowns, it'd be like
you was dancing on the people.
That'd be like having like 50 points in a basketball game.
Man, we let somebody in 7th grade come dance on us for 50, man.
But you know, back then we didn't dance. You know, he wouldn't dance.
No, I just meant like you just doing it in style, like you just trucking.
But you know, the thing is, and I'll just say it's different levels of athletes. It really is at a young age. You know, it's different levels of athletes.
Agreed.
Like you go out and you see a kid that plays basketball, and he may be 11 years old, but man, he playing like a 15-year-old. Right? You see, you say, man, there's something in that kid. Yeah. He got it. You know, the other kids may be older, but it's like, man.
So when did you know that you were something special?
Yeah.
Maybe in 8th grade. Not that, but like I was gonna go to the next level. Nothing like that. But I knew I was bigger. I was big. Like, there was a lot of talk. I was fast. I was very coordinated.
Was that not common to be big and fast back then? No,
it wasn't. It still isn't today. I mean, like a running backs aren't my size. Running backs aren't 6'3", 225.
Oh, I know. It's a couple of running backs I done met that I was like,
you a running back?
No, it just was like the fact that he in the NFL and I'm supposed to know you, and it's like, bro, I would have walked right by you.
I know that. See, you said that. They don't look like athletes. They're like,
they be chilling. He was chilling too. Like, he wasn't bothering. No, he wasn't like flashy at all. It was like, bro, I would have walked right by him and not know who he was. Like, he wouldn't even need security. He could probably beat up everybody in here. Like,
but that's the thing about being a lot of football players, is that the cool ones are just unassuming.
Yeah,
they really unassuming. They're not the flashy thing. I mean, if you'd have met like Walter Payton, you knew him by face, but if you didn't know him if you didn't know who he was, Walter was like wasn't a real big guy. Yeah, you'd be like, that's Walter Payton. I won't forget when I first met Wilbur Montgomery. I've been Wilbur Montgomery. Wilbur was only about 5'9", and I'm like 10. Man, I'm like, if he can play, I know I can play. And I met him when I was in college. I think one of my teammates that was playing with the Eagles, and he had me come over to his apartment when they were playing the Cowboys, and he said, I want you to meet somebody. And I met Wilbur Montgomery, and I was like, man, he's a little bitty guy. I mean, that's what I'm thinking, because I'm 6'3", you know, and I'm in college.
Seeing right over.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, if he can play, I can play. And that's when I really found out that he said, Eric, he said, man, they asked me to talk to you. Say, you know, the Eagles, they're looking at you. He said, because they didn't have all the film they have now. They said, well, no, what kind of guy is he? Really as fast as he looks on
It's
tape?
kind of like a legend.
Right. Well, yeah. Is he fast as he look on tape? What kind of guys? And he said, you probably get drafted in the first round. And I, back then you didn't. I'm like, really? I said, what's that? I mean, I had no clue. So he kind of explained. He said, I said, you're gonna be a first round pick possibly. You make quite a bit of money. I'm like, so it was all brand new to me. So that's when I really, and I was a junior. I was a junior then. That's when I kind of had a feeling that possibly I'd play professional football.
One thing we really wanted to touch on today is like the similarities and differences between you and this guy. You two just being pro athletes, one in the 80s, one in the,
Thousands.
2000.
Yeah, 2013, right? 12, when you got drafted. But just like your experiences and your recruiting processes and like, Eric, with you being offered more than just a scholarship to play.
Well, back when I came out of high school, I was the number one recruit in the whole nation. And I'm from a small town, 2,000 people, that's a blessing. Really, I think it happened for me. It was different. I mean, you got coaches coming from everywhere.
Yeah.
Every big school, USC, Oklahoma, Texas, Alabama, Michigan, all of them come to talk to you. And think about it. I'm in a town of 2,000 people. Every coach. From all the coaches you see was there, Barry Switzer, Ron Meyer, Fred Akers, all the coaches from all the big schools come to talk to you. And that was like a dream come true, but in a sense it was a dream, but it almost became like a curse too, because, they were putting these guilt trips on you. They really were. You had coaches putting the guilt trips on you. You had alumni offering you stuff. You had, your mom and your moms and your dad, didn't know what to do because, they had been in a situation like that before. So it was kind of confusing. So in a sense, it's a lot to think about. It really is. And, you know why they're there. They're there because they can get something out of you. You're a product, basically. And, I was fortunate enough to, I'll say this much here. Where I really wanted to go to school at the time was Oklahoma University. That's where I wanted to go to college. They recruited me. But I won't forget when Barry Switzer came and talked to me in my house, and he came to my state championship game. When he walked out, I told him I committed to go to OU. My mother said, "You ain't going to school there." I said, "Boy, you ain't going. That man's a liar, and I don't trust him."
The fact that was enough is what got me while reading or listening to the audiobook. That's what got me. The fact that you were just like, this is everything I want. He talked about how he liked them, he liked the program. It seems like nowadays, something like that, hearing something like that from somebody, you would expect they would have signed. They probably would have signed before they was even in high school if it was like that.
That right there to sign before when they're still in high school. You're probably right. But the thing is that my mother had such a big impact on me. I mean, she's my great aunt, but that's who adopted me. That was legally adopted. She had such a big impact on me and the way that, I listened to her. I mean, I got to say, she made all the best decisions for me through my career. I'll never forget, she said, "Look, but you're a Texas boy, Eric." She said, "Why you want to go out of the state of Texas?" She said, she's explained. She said, "If you go to Oklahoma and they got a boy from Oklahoma and a boy from Texas, the boy from Oklahoma going to play." I'm like, "That ain't true." She said, "Eric," she said, "it's different." She said, and she'd always use that, "It's different for you, son, especially as a white kid, it's going to be different for you, And it really was. But I'm glad I stayed and went to SMU. I mean, it was tough at times. I mean, it wasn't all people think, it was great at times. It was not always great at times. I mean, I wanted to leave there and transfer to Oklahoma. I won't forget, I came home after my second year until I went to transfer. And I won't forget, she said, "Sit your ass down."
Yep.
And she said, she took a line, took a piece of paper, put a line down me. She put SMU and other. She said, "Okay, boy." She said, "So, you got a scholarship at SMU?" "Yes, ma'am." "Are you guaranteed a scholarship at Oklahoma?" "Well, no, nope. It's guaranteed." "Nope, that's an X. That's a check." She said, "Are you playing at SMU?" "Yeah, Mom, but I'm not playing." "Are you playing?" "Yes, that's a check." "Are you going to play at Oklahoma?" "What? That's an X." So it was all X's on Oklahoma side, all checks on the SMU side. She said, "Boy, take your ass back to SMU." And I went back and,
What was they offering? And
everybody was offering something different. I'll tell you this much here. The biggest offer I saw at the time was $50,000. I didn't see it, but my mother told me. She said, "Eric," she said, "school came in." She said, "They have $50,000 in a briefcase." She said, "They got that." And I think that's 1979. So that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
That's like $200,000.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
And back then, in those days.
Yeah.
And she said, "But let me tell you something, son. If you don't want to go to school now, we're not taking these people's money." And I didn't want to go to school there. I didn't want to go to school at school. I mean, I liked the school, but I didn't love the school. And so I didn't go there. I ended up going to SMU, and I didn't get anything. People think I got all this money to go to SMU. Man, look, I can just tell you, it's in my book. I got it like $1,000 a month, and most of that money was going back home to my mother. My dad had passed away. You know, we were poor. You know, lower middle class. We didn't have anything, so I'm sending the money back to her, and you know, trying to, you know, because you know you have to go away if you want to go on a date or something like that. Right. You know, you want to have some college life. Yeah. But it wasn't about the money. You know, I went there because really she wanted me to go there. That's why I went to SMU. And am I glad I went there? I'm glad I went there.
You got any similar experiences in that arena?
Yeah, I got offered money. The biggest move was the money offer, and then you don't even have to take an official visit. Fly down and you could drive back. And I was like,
Fly down to where? What city?
What city was it?
Where was it?
I had to go to Florida.
And where were you flying from?
Huh? No, it wasn't Florida. I ain't gonna say the exact college. I ain't gonna do that.
No.
I don't want to get nobody in trouble. But in Florida. Yeah, in Florida.
Florida's wild.
But it's they was like you could fly down
from
and
where?
You could drive back.
From where?
From Chicago.
Yeah, from Chicago. But I was like,
2-hour flight.
Yeah, I'm like, why would I drive? What's that? 10, 15 hours to Chicago? I'm like, bro, drive back? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, and Dad had to really etch it out for me, what he was saying. And I was like, damn. You know what I mean? But I had seen so many movies, G, where they took just, you know what I'm saying, whatever they took, and then either somebody got you in their pocket or I was just like, I'm scared. So not even scary, Joe. I think whatever having Pop around, I'm not used to other people just having power over me. Like I used to, even in times that Pop would come down on me, it was something in me that was just on my man shit. Like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I can't wait till I could just have that, say what I want to say to dude when he's making a decision that I don't agree with or whatever. Like, I can't wait for my day I could sit at the table with all the grown-ups and have that conversation. So it's like giving somebody else that power by saying, when I was a kid, you gave me money, and now when you a pro, I could really hit you over the head for 10 times as much as I was giving you. Because, you know what I'm saying, when you a kid, you know, when you in college, if I had $1,500 on me in college, bro, that's so much. I'm like nervous to walk around. Like I'm nervous to tell everybody in the dorm rooms that I got $1,500. Somebody might take it. Nigga, that's $1,500. You know what I'm saying? But it's like when you in college, that's what $1,500 looked like to you. I had never seen no $1,500 unless a dealer had that. Dealers was the only one that had a big wad of cash on them. Like, bro, I'm not doing that. So it's like if I would have had that in college, I'm like, bro, I don't know how hard I would have worked. 2, I don't know who would have had me in their pocket and how I would have dealt with somebody having power over me. Like after a while, I don't know if my moral compass would have kicked in, whatever. It just been like, bro, this ain't worth it, bro. This ain't doing nothing but getting you a check. Like, this is a weak ass investment.
Was it like a fear factor type thing?
The fear factor just, you know, of being, no, in the NBA camps and shit, they used to tell us, like, I'm sure the stories of the guys before us, you know what I'm saying, guys coming back telling us, like, yo, we took those deals and was ineligible. Like guys that, you know, I never heard of because they never got to play because they took some bread and now they here talking to me and I'm like doing research on them. Like it was like guys like that coming to NBA camp. Luckily they did because they was telling us, and you know, this is junior year of high school. They telling us like, y'all got about another year before the Hawks come out to everybody just start pulling at you. And then sure enough, it happened. So I'm just glad that I never liked somebody standing over me with power. That was what it was for me. I wasn't going to give you that power over me. But, of course, we had the fear of, yeah, I'm going to take this and then you're going to tell me I just worked my ass off. Not studying how I'm supposed to study because I'm banking on basketball, doing all this. Like, I didn't put the energy that I could have put into other things. So if you're going to tell me all my progress is now over with because I took a ban, like $1,000 just ain't enough. Now, if they'd have gave me the briefcase that he was talking about, if you showed me a briefcase, I'm a different animal. But I didn't get no briefcases, man.
Luckily,
bring no Louis
luckily
Vuitton
his mom
briefcase
got
with
it.
the-
No, his mom got it. He
Yeah,
didn't get it.
they
His
brought
mom got it.
him a briefcase with the handcuffs on it, man. Real talk. That's what they doing. They giving you that handcuff briefcase. I ain't get a handcuff. You gave me $250. You might have been able to buy me a kid from Oak Park, man. You give me $250, shorty. Hey, I'm outside.
Well, the big thing is that like not getting caught. Like no one knew that they were giving us money.
But that was smart how you did it though, like you said.
People assumed it. And I wasn't the only one to get it. Look, it was all over the Southwest Conference. It's everywhere. They still do it. It doesn't change. And it's how they pay. It's how they give it to you. It's in cash. They give you cash. Now who's gonna track cash? I mean, just like when I got my Trans Am, people talked about the Trans Am. And my
gold one, right?
The gold Trans Am. People thought.
All right, no, break it down. How it look, man.
It was a gold Trans Am,
Let me sit in the car with you.
Smoke and the Bandit with the eagle on the top.
Okay.
The T-top. The T-top.
Okay.
Oh, he had the T-top.
The T-top. Yeah, the T-top. The
Well,
T-top.
yeah,
Like they an 8-track tape player. That 8-track tape. Like I said,
on
an
now.
8-track tape player.
All right.
And so when I got that car, people thought that we got him. He's gonna be ineligible. When we went down to get the car, I'll make the story short. We got to get this car. So I used to go by this place called Leo Jonigan off the freeway. I'd go by there almost every day.
You said Leo what?
Leo Jonigan. It was Leo Jonigan Pontiac. Go by and look at it. I'm like, man, that's a nice car. So some of the boosters, A&M, knew I wanted that car. I wanted the car. And so they had me go down and look at the car. My mother said, we're going to go down and look at this car, Eric. My grandmother met me out of Houston. My grandfather came down. Make a long story short, they had me drive the car. A few minutes later, came hand me the keys. I'm like, what? Take it. So I asked my mom, Mom, well, how you get the car? She said, don't worry about it. She said, it ain't gonna ever come back on you. You ain't never got to worry about it.
Yeah.
So let's say that was a Friday. Monday morning, NCAA was at my high school. That Monday morning. I won't forget, I was in science class. And the guy knocked on the door. He said, and my teacher went to the door and said, Eric, somebody wants to speak to you outside. So I walk out to the door and the guy says, I'm from the NCAA. I want to talk to you about your car that you have. I said, well, you got to talk to my mother, my grandmother. He said, okay. So I said, well, I can call her, and you can go to the house. So I called my mother, told her how to get to the house because she said, don't say nothing about that car because you don't know nothing. I didn't know anything. So make a long story short, they came around for seriously over 2 months. They came to my every day. They came to investigate that car every day. The guy came so much. He was a brother. He came so much. He started having dinner with us at the house. Me and my mom.
Yeah, you allude to that in the book.
So
Wait, what?
that's how much he came to our house.
And he probably was just like, man, they cool.
He was a brother.
Like they
He
not
was
like, after a while,
shit,
he
but they
like,
keep
hey,
sending me down here.
But he told my mother. He told us later. He said that I'm just gonna let you know we have over 300 to 400 calls a day about this car. She said, and when I came down, I thought that I was going, it was just easy, it's going to be easy, you're going to get caught. But my grandmother now, who lives in Houston, that's my real grandmother, not the lady who raised my grandmother, they met with her and my grandfather. And I asked him, I said, Mom, I never saw that man anymore. She said, your grandmother told that man, if we see anybody from the NCAA ever again, we're going to sue you personally, we're going to sue the NCAA. She said, you have all the paperwork on this car, you see this car is legit, and that's it. So I never saw him.
Right.
So boom, now let's fast forward. So after, I think I was in the pros, asked my mom, I said, Mama, tell me, how did that car come about? She said, you didn't need to know that, but I'll tell you now. She said that the car was bought by your grandmother. She paid for the car. But it's my grandmother, they could afford the car.
Right.
She said, my grandmother bought the car, and school gave them, not SMU, another school. I said, Texas A&M gave them the money back, gave them the money, gave them cash back for the car. So that's how the car. So what you gonna go say? Hey, we bought him the car. We got the car.
No lies being told.
No. So that the car was clean. It was clear. So that's why the car never came back on me.
That is wild.
So that's that's how it was back. That was like the Wild West back then. I mean, it really was.
Going back to that, talk about, both of you too, could talk about becoming breadwinners for your family right after, probably being 18, 19, 20, 21. Like, just talk about how different that is, becoming a breadwinner for your entire family and generations to come, when they perceive that you're going to get the amount of money that you're going to get or walk into.
I mean, you play basketball, that's different money. That's different money. What I made. That's different money.
But the way you spoke on it, it's a different scale of money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's, of course, the numbers went up, but shit costs more.
We'll take the money out for a second and just talk about like the implications.
I'm just saying, all right, well, honestly, becoming a breadwinner, I say for me, it's this up and down feeling. Because you like become the breadwinner. Like me, I used all the stories of everybody around me and like all my friends, hardships, anything they was going through, any pain around me. In times that I don't have it all or I just don't have enough for the day, I'm going to just use something to get myself going. You know what I'm saying? A reason why I got to do this. I got to make it because who else could fix X, Y, and Z? Like who else? Fuck it. Who else could do it? It's got to be me. Like that's why you got to do it. So do it. Cool. Once you get the money, after you do the shit that you told yourself you was finna do, and then the requests keep coming, there's this time where it's like that whole like Batman, like like you gotta become the bad guy shit. Like even Batman got hated on, right? The hero gotta be the villain after a while. You go through that and it's like I heard so many stories of people that came forward and they talk about that, like falling out with people, and like I had to have those things happen. So that's why I say it's an up and down feeling, because even in that stuff happening, it's the only time you really could find growth once you reach a certain, you know what I'm saying? Because it's only, I'm sure you know, once you graduated to that money, it's like you start realizing your conversations with your friends start changing. It become weird. It's like you still my boy, but it's like I need to talk to somebody that's making these same decisions on a day-to-day. So then you elevate and talk to some other people and rub people wrong. It's just all types of stuff that come with it. Like, well, that's family.
That's a special point though, just because he didn't have kind of what you had. You had a little bit of like, like social media existed and all of that. There were a couple more avenues to wait, to like build your brand and kind of like make a way for what you want yourself to be back then. Yeah. He didn't have that.
No, not at all.
He didn't have any of
that. For me, I won't forget, like I said, I grew up in a shotgun house in Texas, a shotgun house. My dad had passed away when I was 17, and it was just me and my mother. I always knew I wanted something better, but I mean, I had it good, not great, but I mean, we weren't dirt poor, but I wanted more for my mother. I always said this, I wanted to give my mother a house like the white people had. I wanted to build a house for her like the white people had. And I had a friend named Kevin Kubrick that I went to his house one time before a football game. I don't forget, he had a two-story house. The dad had a Jag, had a bearskin rug on the floor. He had a computer. I'd never seen a computer before. I'm like, oh, wow. I mean, it's a brick house. And I said, I want a house like this for my mom. I'll never forget that. And I that was always my vision. I was always wanted to have
Was
something.
it like a pressure, or it was just
wasn't no pressure. It was just aspiration. It was a goal that I had. I wanted that for my mother.
It's a drive.
And make a long story short, I didn't know how I was going to get it, but I know that it was more to life than me being in that little small town in Sealy, Texas. And sure enough, when I got drafted, that was one of the first things I did.
That brick house.
I built that brick house. I built that shit
brick by brick.
I built that brick house for my mom. And she passed away. I still have the house in Sealy. Yeah. She would say, because Mom, she was older. She said, "Eric, you know to build me." I'm an old lady. I said, "Mama, I always wanted to build you a house. That's what I always wanted." And then I built it. And I won't forget, I had the money to pay it off right away.
Right.
So
it took some work.
So I won't forget when I got left the Rams, really got a real contract, got a really good contract. That's when the house went about $125,000.
Right.
So and I won't forget, I sent a check to pay it off, and I asked her, I said, "How did you sleep last night?" She said, "Best sleep I ever had in this house." Knowing it's paid off.
Real talk.
So
He's still smiling after it's been paid off. He's still smiling.
It was just a good feeling. I mean,
I know.
You got to understand, when you do something for someone that loves you and has done everything for you, and you get a chance to repay them for the sacrifices that they made for you, your dad, your mom, brother, sister. I mean, it's a good feeling. It really is. I mean, it's like, you're not looking for a pat on the back, but I say this much, and when I say this, I say, look, I'm not perfect by no means. Ain't nobody perfect, but I can say for a fact, I was a good son. my mother passed away, but I was a good son. I never talked back to her. At times she talked bad to me, and I want to, but she, Mom, you don't say, you don't say, talk back, get hit in the mouth.
Show that.
But man, I can take pride in saying I was a good son.
Yeah. I feel like I could join you in that club, my dog.
There you go. So
I was a good son.
You know, when you do something right and you do something wrong. I mean, you do. You have all the people pulling at you. You know, like I got half brothers and sisters. You know, I don't really talk to them anymore because honestly, it was a jealousy thing. You know, and they feel like I've got tired of taking care of people. Like it comes to a point where you have to do it on your own.
Yeah.
I mean, I have half sisters that. It's funny how women are. Some women, they didn't like anybody I dated, any girl. They might start liking them, but all of a sudden, if I start, they start like, oh, he might get married. Oh, she ain't no good. It's all. It was crazy. It was crazy. I mean, to the point.
What do you think that was?
Man, I don't know. But I talked to other athletes, other football players. And they're like, man, my sister she don't like my wife, or she don't like my girlfriend. It's the same. I'm like, it's always the women don't like the. It's always
women not liking the
It's
other.
always man. I swear, man. I mean, that was it. But
our daughters was just arguing, man, all day. Like y'all can't get along, man.
Yeah, it is.
I pick his daughter up, my daughter, man. I'm like, bro, you didn't even want to hug on me.
It's women. It's not that type of show, though. It's not that type of show.
Yeah, I forgot. Iman Amongst Men. We get back to my man voice.
But you can't live without women. We love them.
Yeah, no,
we love y'all, but this is about
we
men.
love women.
Yeah.
We love women.
Yeah.
We love women.
All right.
Eric, you've been outspoken about a lack of representation in the front office and like ownership and pro sports and in the NFL. What do you think it should look like proper representation?
Well, I'm going to tell you this here. First of all, I've never liked the word owner. I've never liked that word.
What'd I tell you? I've been told you that.
Because it's like, we own these niggas out here. That's how they feel, especially in football. I can speak of my sport. These my slaves. I own their asses. I'm their owner. I'm their master. They do what I tell them to do. I can divide them. It's like I got my group over. I can get this group to do what I want to control that group. I've never liked that word. But look, in football, it's so different. And I say this much: football gave me a life I would not have, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for it, but I put the work in also. But I just don't like the way they treat the players. I would say it's mostly us, just us. Black players. I'll just give you a quick example, like the CTE thing, and then they had this. I don't know if you know about it. They had the race norming, where the guys, players have CTE. Where they were putting the black players on a different scale than the white players. Like we basically, you are the black.
You measure differently,
right? You measure differently. No matter if you got CT or you don't have it. They were saying, okay, the black players are pretty much already dumb, so they don't, they don't measure up. And then when they got caught, and they said, what they said? Okay, we won't do it again. But see, people don't know about that kind of stuff. I mean, that's what they do. I mean, for me, it's like I've been very outspoken. I just feel like that. Basketball and football, for basketball and baseball, y'all have guaranteed contracts. Guaranteed. We'd have no guaranteed contracts. After 5 years, you have a $100 million contract. They want to cut you in two. You done. You don't get the rest of that money. That's just how it is in football. I had a conversation with a writer talking about my book, and he said to me, Eric, you probably know that I'm white. I said, oh yeah, I can tell. He says, the NFL is what, 80% black? I said, yeah, they say 70, but it's about 80% black. He said, now I'm gonna say this. Now this is a white guy said this. He said, if the NFL was 80% white, he said, because we don't have health care, no guaranteed contracts, pension is terrible for especially retired players. Terrible. I mean, like some guys get like $800 a month, and they played like 14 or 15 years. What? He says that.
Right, shameful.
He said you would have a good pension if it was white players, you'd have a good pension, and you would have health care. He said, I'm just saying it. He said, I'm just letting you know. I said, well, you saying? We all say, we brothers, we know, we know it, but it's just nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to hear it. We're gonna try to do something about it, and they never do. And they keep them divided. It's like Roger Goodell's make $45-50 million a year. I'm cool with that. I don't care. That's fine. But you know what? Do right by the players.
There you go.
That just goes to show how great our league is doing. Why come the retired players and the current players, especially retired players, can't? Those guys before me and guys in the middle now have made this league great. I mean, guys like the Jim Browns, the Earl Campbells, the Walter Paytons, the Deacon Jones. Matter of fact, Deacon Jones told me, this was about 14 years ago. I went to visit Deacon in the hospital. We talking. I sit there with him mostly all day just because Deacon was just funny. He said, Eric, he said, you taking your pension yet? I said, nah, Deacon. I said, I think I was only like 49 years old, 49 or 50. I said, no. He said, you know what you'll get? I said, I'm just kind of guessing, Deacon. I don't know, maybe $1,500 a month. So I took a wild guess. He said, you know how much money I get? Deacon played 15 years in the NFL. He said, I get $250 a month. What am I going to do with $250?
Right. You can't even eat with that.
And he was one of the great players of the National Football League. Healthcare is the most important thing.
That's what they deserve.
Yeah, because guys don't. Because like now,
especially concerning the CTE.
Right. Like right now, when players retire from the National Football League, they got 5 years of health care. After that, it's over. You start having to get your own health care. You have no health care if you can't pay. And a lot of guys can't afford to pay for it. I mean, I know in my era, a lot of guys can't. I mean, couldn't afford to pay for health care because we weren't making a lot of money.
Now with $250 a month?
Yeah, I mean, guys weren't making money. They were making $200,000, $50,000, $100,000. You know, it's very few guys making big contracts. When you think of football team, I think people think everybody's making all this money. It's a handful. It's like 4 or 5 guys that's making real money. The rest of the guys are making minimum wage.
Going off of what you just said, how do you fight for what you're owed or what you think you're owed, like for you and for the players ahead of you?
That's a good question. It's an easy question. If you get the players to stick together,
yeah.
You got to get the players. If the players stick together, that's the big thing. But they won't stick together. You know who really is the meat and potatoes of the guys are the wives and the girlfriends. They are the ones who are stuck with an old guy who once was a 25 or 30, and they've said they've been with that guy 30, 40 years. Now he's 60, 70 years old. He has dementia. He has prostate cancer, or he has whatever. He can't get around. The women are the ones who stuck with no help. To me, that's just the unfortunate part. That they just did more. You can't help everybody. Don't get me wrong. You can't help everybody.
Right.
And I'm not saying that. It's not set up for that. But just do right by the guys who really put in the time in the league. Really put in the time and give them a real pension. Give them a real pension. Like for us, I don't know for y'all, for you, but like you have an option. You have your pension and you have your disability. Let's say you have disability. Let's say you got hurt. You're gonna get hurt in football. You cannot take both. You can't take your pension and take your disability. You got to take one or the other. Now, that don't make sense. If I'm a policeman and I get hurt on the job, I get my pension, I get my disability.
It's simple.
It's simple.
It's simple.
But now in our league, it just
it's the amount.
It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
I mean, just like right now, I have disability, and after I spoke out against DeMar Smith, now all of a sudden they want to try to cut my disability off all of a sudden. And I had to get a lawyer. I got to fight it because you dare.
Yeah.
That's what makes players afraid. Me, I'm not afraid. I'm like, hey, I mean, I am who I am. This is me to the day I die. I mean, I'm outspoken. I'm not the angry black guy. I just like things to be done right by whoever. It's not about the color of your skin. It's about just doing the right thing for a human being. I mean, it's enough for everybody. It really is.
It's like you said in your book, you just
tough.
Want shit to be fair.
I just want it to be fair. That's all. Just the fairness. All I ask.
In your days, like when you negotiated your own,
I negotiated my last contract when I got to the Colts. Yeah.
How'd you feel like you needed to walk in the room to like? I'm saying this for somebody that would want to walk in. Your approach on it and saying, this what I'm worth, this what I ain't going for, this is the game I know they gonna play. Like, how was you walking in that?
Well, for me, it was different because I knew what I wanted, and my coach that was in college, Ron Meyer, was at Indianapolis, so it was easy to deal with because he helped me.
Okay.
But I would tell any young player that's coming out of college, if you're gonna be a top draft pick, you don't need no agent. All you need is a lawyer. What you need an agent for? If say my contract is $200 million, why am I going to give him 3% of my $200 million? It don't make sense. If I give a lawyer $300,000, I'm done with him. Do my contract. I give me an accountant, got a good lawyer, and I need you. I pay you. I'm done. That's all you need.
Straight up.
I tell these guys, you don't need no agent. Agents that's agents for guys who're not gonna get drafted, basically. Or if you're gonna be like a third,
Who need a negotiation.
Who need somebody to push them. Like, hey, look, you go to the team. This guy here, he's a good player. You know, I promise you. Or you take him. And I'll make sure you get him. That's how. Yeah. But if you're in the top draft picks, the top 10, man, you don't need no agent. I mean, why am I? Like I said again, why am I gonna give you that 3% and I just go pay me an attorney to do my contract? Get a firm to do it.
Like he said, when you need them, you pay them.
You pay him, and you're done with it. So, but it's like I say, everybody wants an agent.
Yeah,
they want that. They want to say, go talk to my agent. Just go talk to my lawyer.
Yeah, so they don't have to deal with the particulars.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the agents of now, like, they were getting more stuff. Like, if you were, because I was like I ended up being a mid-level draft. I was like 2 picks out of the lottery. So when I came in, it was like, I'm glad I had my agent, because it was like other shit that was going on, shoe stuff, anything like that. It was like once I announced that he was my agent, it was like by the next week, everybody knew to call him. Like, it was hard. Like, to get in contact with me back then, that's tough. The moment I got with him, my phone started blowing up to the point it was like, I'm like, bro, you remember when I got drafted and he had to give me a whole new phone. Because he was like, you don't pick up your phone. I'm like, bro, it's all these messages, all these people calling. I don't know who's who. I don't know these numbers. I'm not picking that up. I'm going to play basketball and keep things simple. I think that was my thought process. I'm like, whatever it is to have somebody else deal with the mental, like, because I feel like that's a lot. Like, nobody really talks about going from the purity of, this is just a sport to me. This is just fun to me. This is what I want to do every day. Like, I love doing this. It's not a wake up, go to work to me. This is, I'm going to do the best shit in the world. Like, if I had a job after work, I would go hoop. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
I get it.
It's like you have this love for it. And then it's like when you get drafted, I don't know if I could have sat down and been like, oh, I'm going to do this is what I need to do on my contract. I need to go do my research on what the fuck this dude making, so I could sort of scale how much I'm worth. And I'm not finna be talking to the shoe people about the shoes and I don't want to talk to y'all. I don't want to talk all day. So you go talk to him. Like, I wish I would have put, like how you saying, like once I got drafted, I wish I would have knew, like, man, I don't care if Ari an agent or not. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I watched Bron do it, but I felt like he was the number 1 pick. That was easy. You know what I'm saying? Sort of like you were saying, where it's like
when you're the top.
Yeah.
I think I said some guys that you need that. They need it, but some guys,
I liked it. But I'm saying, even if I would have been a top pick, I would have probably enjoyed you go over there and do it. It's just I probably would have moved a lot like Bron and been like, y'all can call my big brother.
Yeah.
Like you don't got an agent? Nope. But you can call my big brother and we can get whatever done.
Like, you have somebody that can call. I get somebody that can call. But like in football, let me tell you, like in football, it's different because those contracts are set. They're already set. Like okay, like say
slide it by your pick.
Yeah, like say you're the first pick this year.
Yeah.
And I'm the first pick the next year. Okay, let's just say your signing bonus was $25 million. Let's use that number, $25 million. My signing bonus the next year, if I'm the next, it ain't gonna be $40 million. It's gonna probably be $27 million, right there close to what you had. Yeah. It ain't changing much.
You're just gonna be like, I'm better than him, so show me I'm better than him.
It's just gonna go up a little bit. It's not gonna be like a big drastic. There's nothing the agent can do. Basically, they already slotted. That's what I'm saying for football. Now, when you're a lower round pick, or it's different. Like, and I think after them first like 15 or 20 picks, then you might need somebody to help you along. But that first 10 or 15, man, you don't need nobody, because those contracts are slotted. And football is slotted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's already you ain't getting no more.
Yeah, let's get into
Fatherhood, man stuff.
Man stuff, man.
Stuff.
The best job in the world, man.
Stuff.
Let's talk about your favorite job.
Yeah, being a
dad.
Yeah, man, we got to bring the crowd through the lens of a
I love being a dad. I mean, it's just not something I wanted at first, I got to say. I mean, I made a lot of mistakes. My oldest daughter, name is Erica. Me and her mom was like, we we were like Israel and Iraq. That's where I could put it. I mean, we were like at it, brother. Oh, hard. I mean, nothing. I don't care if it was what kind of gas to put in the car.
Oh yeah.
Oh
it was
man,
like that?
it was like that. I mean, I wasn't with her mom. I was, she had, she was a girl I dated, and then she got pregnant. But man, at the time, it was just bad.
Yeah.
And make a long story short, I never thought I'd be cool with that woman ever. And I told her, I said, Eric, one day we might be friends. I said, it will be raining and sleeting in hell before I'm ever your friend, ever. And lo and behold, man, time changes. My daughter's such a good girl. She's so smart. She's beautiful. I got to give her mother credit. Her mother's doing fantastic. Her mother has a big company called Beauty Blender. I know women know what Beauty Blender is.
All right, plug it.
Yeah, you see, women know what Beauty Blender is. And, her mom's done a great job. But I won't forget one day, me and her mom, we've been getting along pretty good. And I had a party at my house, and then my mom came. I invited her to my house to a party, a New Year's Eve party. And I think some said, just call her. Just call her and just tell her, what's a great job she did with your daughter. Someone just told me to do it. And I called her. I said, Eric, I said, give me, what's your mom's number? I thought I had it. She said, she gave it. I said, I already have it. She said, I want to call your mom. I said, just call and tell them to give her a call. She said, what you want to talk to her about? I said, let me talk. I want to talk to her. I said, okay. Because me and her talking
was gonna
be a problem. And so I won't forget, I called her. And she said, Erica said you're going to call me. She said, what's up, Eric? And I could tell she was nervous because I know, I can be kind of crazy back then.
Right.
So I said, what's up, Rhiannon? She said, I'm good. She said, what's up, Eric? I said, I just want to tell you something, Rhiannon. I said, I just want to say to you, in spite of me, I just want to thank you for the job you did with our daughter. I said, I know I was a screw up at times. I said, I just want to say thank you, I said, Erica's such a good young lady. I said, everybody talks about, man, Erica's so respectful. She's so classy. She's just a good girl. And I want to say thank you. I say, in spite of myself. And she said, Eric, I cannot believe you calling to say this. And I told her, I said, I can't believe it either. I said, but I'm going to tell you. I said, it's the truth. I really feel like that. She said, thank you, Eric. I said, no problem. And we've been cool. I mean, we've been cool for years now. Growth. I mean, it's right. It's growth. It really is growth because, man, it's you blame the kid. It's never the kid. And I didn't get that. I didn't understand that. I won't forget when my daughter when she was pregnant, my daughter was born, my mother would say, Eric, it's not that child's fault. I didn't get that. That didn't even register with me. To me, it was the child's fault and the mama's fault too. You're young and dumb. You're in your 20s.
I had a child at a young age.
Yeah,
I know exactly.
Yeah, you just ignorant. I mean, it's you're immature. It's what it is. To make it long story, I was immature. I was really immature, and I didn't understand the backlash that it was going to have on my daughter later. And I won't forget one time my daughter was. I think she was. This is even before this. I think she was maybe 4 or 5 years old. And I went to pick her up, and we're in the car, and she says to me, she said, Dad, do you love me? I said, of course I love you. She said, why you never tell me you love me? Man, it caught me off guard. It shocked me. I said, Erica, I said, you know what? She said, I just told her, I said, I wouldn't brought up like that. I said, I never, my dad and mom never told me they loved me. I said, I knew they loved me, but they never told me. I said, but you know what? She said, because my mom says it all the time. I said, you know what, Erica? Every time I talk to you, I'm going to start telling you I love you. And I do love her. And I tell her that because I felt like, I grew up in kind of the South, you didn't tell you. Parents didn't tell you they love you. You didn't have to tell you. I don't tell you I love you. You know I love you.
She gonna let me in that night. Yeah, feed her.
Right. You know I love you. I'm taking care of you. But for real, kids need to hear that. And I made sure from that point on that I told my daughter I love her. I talked to her today. I mean, I love her. And my kids, I have 2 young kids. And I have a 16-year-old daughter, a 10-year-old son, and I tell them I love them. I mean, all the time because I didn't grow up like that. And probably I can honestly say, if my daughter hadn't said that to me, I probably wouldn't tell my kids now that I love them. If I wouldn't, my wife, she tells me she changed the narrative for me.
Because that's what I was going to ask you. What made you?
At a child, she's a child, and she changed the narrative for me.
So that made you really want to be a better father,
be a better dad, be a better person. Even toward her mother, because that's her mom. That is her mother. And sometimes we forget. No matter how bad it is, if you take a look, as a man, if you step back and look, if she's a good mother, now we might not get along, but think about it. If she's a good mother, she's doing right by the child. How can you be mad? You might not like because she's trying to take your money. That's but hey, that's personal. But the child say, but she's a good mom to my kid, and that's what I took a step back and I looked at the things that she would do for Erica, and the stuff that she did for my daughter, and I'm like, she's doing this for my daughter, so I got to man up.
Right. Like she got a good education.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to give her flowers.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. And that's big, man. All fellas.
Yeah.
I hope y'all heard that.
It's never too late. It's never too late to make things right with your shorty.
Never too late.
Never too late. Never too late. What advice would you give, parents who are trying to reconnect with, children or, maybe one or two kids who, they had them young and came up in your similar situation?
Man, it just depends on the situation. I mean,
it does.
It
depends
case by case, because some cases are different. I mean, sometimes you have the guy that is trying very hard, and the mother's keeping the child, the daughter or the son, away from the dad for reasons because he don't want to be with her, but he has a new wife or girlfriend, and she's mad about that. You're punishing the child, and you have the guy sometimes, like me. I was like, I don't want to see the child, because I'm mad at the mama. That
and you don't want to deal with it.
I don't want to deal with it. Like I said, it's a case by case. But I mean, I'll say this much here: when it's all said and done, I'll tell you, you'll regret it. You will regret it. I have regrets. I have regrets that things I didn't do with my daughter, when she was young. I regret it. I just do, and I tell her. I say, Erica's things I regret. I messed up on, and I can't go back and do over. But I just want to move forward. And my daughter, she's such a good person. I mean, she has a podcast. She has a podcast called, I think, Good Moms, Bad Decisions.
Shout out.
And she just did a retreat. I think it had 60 women. They went to Costa Rica. She has a retreat she did with single moms and stuff. She does that. She did that. But the thing is that you don't want to be that dad or that mom that comes back later when the child has made it or done good or done bad, and now you want to try to be a mom or daddy. Like, well, where were you at? When I needed you, because the kids need their parents. They do
all the time.
They need their parents. I mean, I'm telling you. I mean, because like I said, I had two good parents. Even though my dad was not my real dad, my mother was not my real mother, but I knew who my mother was. Found out later, and I found out who my dad was, my real dad. But I can say I never missed that because I had such a good dad.
Yeah.
I had such a good father.
Listening to that on your audiobook was shocking.
Yeah.
Like hearing that you grew up thinking your mother was your mother and it was actually your sister.
It was told she was my sister.
Well, there you go.
Right.
It was the other way around.
Yeah.
There you go.
So she was my sister,
confused.
but she was my mother. She was my real mother.
How do you handle something like that at a young age? Just knowing that. I know you still felt loved. I know you were okay. But
how was that situation? Was she like your sister, but you was used to her being like your big sister that was like holding you?
No. My mother had me when she was 16.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Did she just never do?
No, she lived right next door. It was just, she
lived in the same house.
No, she lived. She got married. She had me when she was 16. I don't remember when I was little, when growing up. But the only thing I remember is that because she got married, and I still told her it was my sister that lived right next door with her husband, which was my stepdad.
That's all he knew. So
that's all I knew. That's all I knew. I knew him as Robert and Helen. Helen and Robert, my sister. And then they had kids, and that was their kids. So I won't forget when I found out through a teacher. But when my mother, when I did find out, and she would tell me, she said, Eric, I know times you would say, she would tell me to do something. I said, you ain't my mama. You can't tell me what to do. And she said, ooh, you little bastard, I am your mama. She said she said to herself, but she never said to me, I am your mama.
Oh, my God.
And I mean, but man, me and my mother were close. We were very, very close. I mean, we were like brother and sister. I mean, I miss my mom too. I miss both of them. I really miss them because it's funny. Used to call her like late at night. She's back in Texas, and the first thing she said, "What you doing up?" I said, "What you doing up?" And we talk and laugh and stuff like that. But I miss my mother immensely. I mean, the thing is that it's funny how life is. If somebody would have told me when my mother passed away, I would not attend her funeral. We would not be talking. I would say, that's a lie. That's not gonna happen. That's impossible. If somebody told me that, I said that me and my mother too tight for that. We're too close for that. Well, that's what happened, really. My sisters, half sisters, my sister,
You just couldn't do it.
They put a wedge between me and my mother. I mean, big time. I mean, my mother was sick; she got ill, but they put a wedge between me and my mother that would just. I mean, when I say it hurt, it hurt. And I'll just give you a quick rundown. They were trying. My sisters were trying to get my mother and them to steal some money from me, $275,000, and I found out, and I was pissed. And
they took her into their care.
They got her, under their care to try to get her to. This is my real mother, not the one who raised my real mother. To steal money from me. And when I called on it, I said, Helen, how could you do that? Well, Eric, you said you didn't want nothing if they found something. I said, Helen, I told you, if I find out that these girls are trying to, I said, I'm gonna have y'all locked up. I said, I'm telling you. I told you that from the beginning.
Oh, it got bad.
It got bad. It got bad, like really bad, like terrible bad. Like, and I won't forget, and I regretted this. I told my mother, I said, you know what? Don't ever call me again, and I'll never call you again. And I never spoke to my mother before she passed away, and that hurt, that did hurt me, but, I was so hurt by her. But I can't blame my mother all on her, because that was my sisters pushing her to do that. But you know what? I'll say this much here, and just show you how good God is. I have a tendency to do things a little different. Like if you give me like a birthday card, sometimes I may not open it. I won't open it. I won't open it right away. Right. I have to open the gift, and I open the card later. And my mother had sent me a birthday card, and I'd had this birthday card for about 8-10 years, I guess.
Never looked at it.
I'd never looked at it. And one day I was on the side of the bed. I was sticking on my knees and saying my prayers. I was by my bed, and I opened the drawer. I kept it in the drawer, and I looked in the drawer. I was looking through it and said, "Look at this card." Opened the card. It was from my mother. So it was my birthday card. And I'll never forget. She said, "Eric, I just want to say." But it kind of started off. I just want to tell you how proud I am of you to have you as my son. She kind of went on to say that you're the best son ever. And that one day the angel of death will come to get me. And I want you to always remember me. Know that I love you no matter what. Look at this card and remember how much I love you. Man, I looked at started reading the card, broke down and started crying. But that was kind of my answer, that I was so hurt, but my mother let me know she still loved me no matter what. And my sisters, I call them whatever they are, but they were jealous of our relationship. They would say, you her favorite, her favorite. But in a sense, I was, but I wasn't. She didn't show favoritism because we were so close. But I was her first, and she had a struggle with me. It was, she was basically kind of put out. Go live back with her real mom. My grandmother, my great aunt raised her too at the end. But when she got pregnant, they wanted to abort me. Everybody wanted to say, because he ain't gonna amount to nothing. The baby is 16 years old. You gonna, and back in them days, think that's in the 60s.
That's what they did.
That's in the 60s.
That's what they did.
Yeah, you don't do that. You send your way. So, but hey, man, I love both of my mothers. I love my mother Helen and my mother Viola. I love both of them. I was fortunate to have two moms.
Yeah, that's the way that kind of, it didn't start off proper, but at the same time, it ended up working out in your favor.
Most
It's
definitely.
kind of,
Yeah, most definitely.
liberating for the story. Do you also have any lessons that you learned on how money changes families?
Oh,
or just sports money?
Are you kidding me?
Both of you guys,
man. I'm sure you got the same thing, man.
But yours are special.
Man.
You don't have all the like I said, social media.
No, I didn't have that. I mean, I didn't have the stuff. We didn't have that kind of stuff, social media and stuff. When they wrote something about us in the paper, we believed it. It was true. People were like, it can't write if it ain't true. Man, I mean, I was the bad guy when I played. I was known as the villain. I was the ingrate. Hell, I didn't know what the ingrate was. I never heard of ingrate. I was Eric the ingrate. What the hell is that? And my mother hated this. Eric, I don't know who the hell this is they're talking about.
That wouldn't even be allowed now.
Oh man, I'm glad I played in that era. Even though I wish I'd have had social media, because it would have made it different. It would have changed the narrative. I mean, because I'm telling you, I lived under that stigma for a long time. Especially through the white media. I mean, that's what it was. The white media. That wrote all these articles.
Jamel Hills or
no, it wasn't none of them.
Stephen A's.
Wasn't no black report. Wasn't no black reporters. No, everything was white. And it's gonna be, like I say, once again, it's different for us.
Right. So that's what you learned. It's just different.
It's just different for us, man. It's gonna always be different for us, and that's just the fact. You just have to. you have to live through it, navigate through life, you know. And my big thing is just be a good person, you know. I just try to do right by people. My dad had a saying, son, you treat people the way you want to be treated, and I do. I mean, I don't look at myself as Eric Dickerson, a Hall of Famer. That don't mean nothing. People that know me, no, that's not me. That's not my thing. I'm just people. I'm approachable. You know, I'm just an everyday guy. You know, and I'm from a country boy from Sealy, Texas.
Hey man, you are kind of guy, man.
Yeah,
Real talk.
right.
Guys, guy, man.
Yeah.
Hang around the guys. You want to come over, have a bill anytime, bro. You know, beers,
Barbecue
cigars.
too.
Barbecue
too.
Yeah. That's all I can do.
We're gonna have the stains and all that.
Stains and barbecue.
Not no snot on the show.
Listen, I'm telling you.
He's from Texas, so he got to bring the meat.
I know how to barbecue. That's all I can do is barbecue.
Like I said, man, you a guy's guy. That's why we wanted to have you up here. It's good to hear that perspective. We ask all our guests, what are you improving on in the present time for yourself? Like, what are you improving on personally right now? What is now for you?
Well, you know, I think for me, the most important thing for me is my relationship with God. It really is, because, you know, I think that, look, I'm getting to be an older man now, and you know, you start looking at your life, the things you've done, the things that I teach, the way I teach my kids. You know, I teach my kids to same thing where I was trying to be respectful of people. And I say things to them. I said, look, I told them this at an early age. One day your dad not going to be here. I want you to remember these moments that we had, you know, I drive them to school, tell them stories and all that kind of stuff. But for me, I just want to get a better relationship with my Lord and Savior, because I know one day I'll have to stand before Him. I mean, I will. I mean, and I'm not preaching nothing. I'm talking for myself, just for me. That's what I want for me, because, man, I say it all the time. My friends say, Eric, stop saying that. I said, you know, I just feel like I'm a no good person. you know certain things. You just being a man, just being a man.
Yeah.
And you know, you just want to be a better person. I mean, and that you know.
Is that church for you, or is that?
I go to church. You
do?
know, I go to church. You know, I don't read my Bible like I really should. I listen to my sermons on my phone.
Oh, okay.
But you know, for me, that's really my main thing. You know, I mean, because you know, I got what I have. You know, I got the nice house and a few cars and all that stuff. Not like money, not like he got, but you know, I had that kind of money. But you know, but you know what? No, ain't not at all. Not at all. I'm you know what? I'm like I said, I'm so satisfied. I just thank God and I thank Him every day.
That's something you don't hear with athletes. Satisfied.
Yeah, I mean, I'm satisfied. Like I said,
I think that's the scary thing about an athlete.
Yeah.
How do you satisfy somebody that their drive has been always to want more? But that's deep to even have that and say that. You got to bring it back to something as simple as that. What is my relationship with God? Because you can't take none of this shit with you.
Bam. You can't take none of this.
All the shit you chasing, you ain't finna take none of that shit with you. All you could do is lead that for who to come.
Yeah, that's
so
it.
you finna lead that. You got to detach.
You said something really that really hit me when you said that you play basketball, you loved it. You know, you just do it just because you just loved it.
Yeah,
man. You know, I used to feel that way about football. Just what you said, it made it go okay. Because I used to say, man, I love this. I just love it. Love everything about it. You know, playing. I remember going out when it came close to football season. I could smell it. It was a smell. It's football season. And the sad part about it is, at the end, they made me hate a sport that I love so much. I hear so many guys, so many players, white and black, not just black players, say the same thing. Say, man, everything made me hate a sport I loved. I said, ain't that sad? I did with the politics.
The politics of it do make me not like certain things, but I'm still in this, like, the game is such a great game.
It's a game, man.
It's like, now you detach the league from it, I love it.
Ain't that's it. If I can detach the league.
Yeah.
But you know what?
It's
NBA,
just tough to do that, because now you so conditioned to, when I do this, I get this.
Yeah,
you got to pay for this.
But the NBA is like, I was with my friend Clyde Drexler a few months ago, and we was talking about the same thing, football, basketball. And I said, Clyde, I said, you know, basketball, y'all right here with the owners. He said, we up here, the owners down here. It was funny.
Yeah.
But I said, Clyde, he said, see, y'all in the outhouse. I said, that's true. We can't even come in the house. I said, Clyde, I said, you got it right. I said, that's the thing that I think that really disturbs a lot of the players is that we just feel so dismissed. Like when you done, like, hey, get the hell out.
But
don't
like
come
that.
back.
It's like that.
Don't
though.
call. We don't even want to see you.
It's a lot of NBA guys that say the same thing. Like if you're not one of the top guys, it's a different ball.
Oh, you can be one of the top guys. You can be one of the top guys in the NFL. But if you us, I mean, talk to
After you done,
talk to my boy LT. LT is
We were talking about your story in the book.
Oh, my story about the LT
Oh
story.
yeah, he was shaking.
No, I got it. No, I want to hear that. I want to
from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, I want to do the book to get that story. I ain't
Real
even
quick.
gonna do it.
Okay.
Real quick, please give him the LT story.
All right, well, we played. This is our first official game. Opened the season. I playing the Giants in 1983, and LT was all everything because he was a year older than me. He came in the league first. He was all pro and all everything. Right. And so I won't forget. It was like a Wednesday, not Thursday. We're gonna put another play in. So they said, hey, we're gonna put a play in, and you got to block Lawrence Taylor. And I forget. I said, what? I got to block him. So you ain't got to block him, you just got to get his hands down. I'm like, okay. I said, but I ain't got to block him now. No, just get his hands down. Just get his hands down. I mean, I was so nervous. My God. I mean, when I got in my stance, my hands were just shaking. I mean, from the first snap, I was just nervous. And the game started. You get the hits. You kind of get into the game, and he was talking. Yeah, you ain't gonna get no fucking honey, yo, fucking rookie, you. And I mean, I don't say nothing. I'm just like, go back to the huddle, and boom, boom, boom. So as the game goes on, we get to the third quarter. We lead in the game, and it's a play where Mike Barber, the tight end, is going to slip out. LT, we're going to let him run free. We're going to give him a free rush. You can just get his hands down because that's going to leave Mike Barber open. So sure enough, he rushes. I cut him good. And now think about football, linebackers don't like to get cut. I cut him. We get up. I'm going back to the huddle. He grabbed me by the arm. He said, hey, you motherfucker. Don't you fucking cut me. And so, we stand there, and I'm thinking we're going to laugh. He said, you fucking hear me? And I'm like,
it ain't no joke.
Yes. I leave the field. I go off the field. I go to the sideline. And we got a first down. I leave the field. I go to the side, sit on the bench. So we have to call timeout. They're looking for the running back. I'm like, fuck that shit. I'm like,
Like he finna do some bullshit.
They're like, I said, Right. I said, Bruce, no, man. I said, man, say he gonna kill me. I said, why y'all call that play? The guy laughed. I said, no, man, I'm not going back out there, man. They said, Eric, come on. Okay, we'll call that play again. I said, I know you're not with me. So they said, take a few minutes. I'll take a few minutes, get it together, go back in the game. I said, okay, give me some time. I gotta get my mind right.
And you ain't doing that.
I'm not doing that no more. So sure enough, after the game, I go over. I said, shaking. I said, Mr. Taylor, I want to apologize. Say, man, don't cut me. I said, man, I'm sorry, man. He said, man, I'm just joking with you, man. I said, man, don't do me like that. Another Merrill Hodge said he did the same thing to him. The exact same. He said, he did the same thing to me. I said, that's just how he played. But yeah, that's my LT story. But that boy's so crazy, man. He is an idiot. That boy crazy.
Shout out to Lawrence Taylor.
Shout out to my boy LT. I'll see him in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. Every show I tap in with the fans. We like to let them get some questions off that, you don't never want the people to feel unheard. We're going to give them a voice today. Ari, who do we have?
Malik_Bray on Twitter. He asked Iman, if you were commissioner of the NBA, what would be one thing you'd change about it?
The distribution of the contracts. Like right now, there's no in between, and without a mid-level, I feel like the game suffers in a way.
So you'd redo the
I just think that I'm a big fan of people knowing the team, a city knowing a team.
You want more players to stay.
Yeah, I would like to see the same team for a couple of years. I don't know, that's just my preference.
No, I agree with that as a fan.
I've always loved knowing you're about to see the exact same team next year and one or two bench players at it. Like, I don't like that the starting lineup is going to change drastically, and next year I might have a whole new ball club. Like, I feel
Start from scratch.
Yeah, I just feel like it's very disruptive in seeing the growth of any players in the league. Like, especially somebody like me that went through, I had to go through different coaches, different teams being blown up. That bothers young kids' development. Like, I don't have that one voice that was
consistency.
Like, yeah, it's like this coach wanted this coach wanted that, this coach wanted this. I morphed every year. And then I look up and I'm playing 3-man. I'm like, nigga, I came in at point guard. What the fuck is this? Right. Motherfucker, I don't stand in the court. Yeah, so it's like, as a commissioner, if I was, I'm coming in to be like, yo, y'all teams got to be like this. I'm
more transparent.
I don't know what rules I would have to put in place. I'm not good with that in the contract space of how to keep things under a salary cap and all that shit. But
you can read up on it.
I would definitely tell them, like, hey, G, nah, y'all not finna be doing that because I can't get this man to listen to this man. If this man make this much and he make this much, but I'm still having him run through the same wall as this man, like, of course my team ain't finna get along. Like, how can I expect? How can I expect y'all to get along? Y'all all grown men, but at the end of the day, he could have a dick swinging contest and y'all can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't have it like that. I'm not hating on nobody. I would just say, you know, if we got to take the salary cap away so that we can pay everybody and not just the main couple players taking up a cap, like, then that's what it would be. But I would find a way to, like he said, just share the sugar a little bit more.
What would be one thing that you would change in the NFL?
Oh, guaranteed contracts.
Oh,
sure.
Yeah.
That's a guaranteed contract.
Well, what would one other thing be, like, if you were to change?
I'd make sure that all players have lifetime health care. Lifetime health care.
I agree with that too.
Y'all have health care, don't you?
Yeah.
But you gotta
pay.
You gotta pay. They give you a.
That's okay.
No, it's cool. Yeah, if
He's
you
just
stay
saying
with the
they
league,
don't have the option.
We don't even have the option.
No, the NBA not playing that game.
Yeah, we're not. Let's
and that's the one thing I can applaud the NBA on. NBA will not play that game.
Shout out to Adam Silver.
They do not like their players later on
and David Stern
making that league look bad like that. I don't think they agree with anything the NFL does on that front, because I can say, if I can't call anybody in the NBA to pick up right now, because everybody probably know if I call right now, I'm gonna be like, hey, G, y'all finna have this man playing, y'all ain't go to Scooby. But if I really needed to get in a response from somebody, like, the NBA is great with that. The NBPA is great with that. Like, I can admit to that. Like, they will pick up the phone. Like, to this day, y'all
have a good players association.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, if the NFL could take a page out of that book with whatever, I'm not, you know what I'm saying, I'm not hip to what they got going on, but they need to take a page out of that book, because them people pick up them phones. They keep people all the time asking. They sending emails. They're asking about us, making sure if you haven't signed up for this, you can pay this and do this and get this help. And they're offering those. They're adding things. Like, the players was complaining about the mental health now, so they're adding things for that.
That's great, because we didn't have that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good. I mean, don't get me wrong. NFL is doing some. They have done that. That's one thing they have in place.
Yeah.
Baby
They're doing some good things in those areas.
We can
but
applaud
still,
some.
with the I just gotta say, man, with the players is
do more.
Do more. Right.
Okay. Before we let you go, we got to ask you a little bit more about your book. What was the inspiration behind it, and why now?
Now, my friends will say, man, Eric, your life is so interesting, man. A lot of people don't know a lot of stuff that goes on with you. They just think they know what they don't know. And that's just kind of how it became, you know, just that. And my friend Gustavo Miguel was the one who kind of pushed me toward it and got me the right guy to do the book. Greg Hanlon found the right writer for me. We had other writers that wrote stuff for us to read. Didn't sound anything like me. Yeah. I won't forget, one guy I read something he said, and I was talking like, and I was talking about the Rams, and I said, golly, gee whiz. I'm like, oh, hell no. So I would never say that. I would never say that. I would never say that. It sounds just like me. So.
I ain't gonna lie though, your mic check 1 2. I ain't gonna lie, it's entertaining. Like, even when you was going back and taking me through the Lord's Taylor, I tried to close my eyes and act like I was listening to the book. I tried to get a quick, you know what I'm saying, read the back of the book, Joel. I'm sitting here, but I'm real talk though. It's a commanding. It'll command the audience. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get that. That's really why I even started doing a podcast. Like, people been telling me this for years. Like, yo, you tell a story. Like, I'm like, cuz, I was a little broke kid in Oak Park. Like, I ain't think I'd be standing next to Sheed. Like, you know how many times I done told these stories to
Rasheed
my
Wallace,
homie?
for people who don't know.
Big Sheed, y'all know what's going on.
Yeah.
Big Sheed. No, but they what you call it? They like, you know what I mean? You have these stories and the excitement that
Excitement.
come.
And that's what I say. If you do the book, you should read it. Do it yourself.
Oh,
Listeners
yeah.
who don't know, the book is called Watch My Smoke.
Right.
Watch
Watch
the
my
smoke.
smoke.
Yeah.
Watch my smoke down the sideline.
Yeah, it's highly recommended. If you can buy it, buy it. If you can
For
get
my
the
dog.
audio book, that's even better. Cause I really liked it. I enjoyed it. Like just talking to you now, it puts me in the mode of when I was listening to it. Like it really felt, you know, it felt authentic.
I'll tell you one thing. People I've had only like 3 people ask me this question. You know, is why did I name it Watch My Smoke? And I allude to it in my book some. It was from my friend Stanley LeBlanc, and he was a guy. He was like I guess I could say he's like a spiritual leader for me. He was like a dad, but he was my guy. He was my guy, and I'll never forget when I got drafted. Before I got drafted, I met him. My mother and him knew him for years, and he asked me. He said, "So I don't know much about football, son." He said, "But you know, I look at you, I've seen stuff on you, read stuff on you, and you know, you sound like you're gonna be a good player." I said, "Yes, sir." He says, "So where do you what team do you want to go to?" That's how it started. He said, "What team do you want to go to?" And it was some teams that got the first. I think Baltimore had the first pick, Houston had the second pick, and the Rams had the third pick. And I said, I'd like to go to the Los Angeles Rams. He said, "Are you sure about that?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Okay." I said, "I'm gonna make that happen." And man, I gotta say, like I said, that's why I came to Watch My Smoke. And so anyway, when I got drafted, when the draft came about, I won't forget, it was a couple of nights before. He said, "Now, Eric, you sure you want to go to the Rams?" I said, "I want to go to the Rams." He said, "They're going to draft you tomorrow on draft day." They called me the night before and said, "This is, what's the guy's name? I can't think of his name." He says, blah, 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 from the Los Angeles Rams. We're going to draft you in the morning. We have a ticket for you at the airport, so be there. You know, you have a 10 o'clock flight. I said, "Okay." I know. I called him back that night. I said, "Mr. LeBlanc," I said, "the Rams going to draft me." He said, "What did I tell you, boy?" He said, "Watch my smoke." That was always his little saying that he'd say to me about certain things. And he would tell me it's gonna happen. And when I say it's gonna happen, it happened just like he said it. I bought my house in Calabasas. He told me how it was gonna happen. It happened just like that. And he would just say, "Boy, watch my smoke." He said, "Eric," he said, "just like you good at that football," he said, "I'm good at this." So that was my guy. He passed away years ago, but he was like, man, he was like a dad to me.
I still love that. Like Ari was saying, like every time you've told a story about somebody that just had that significance, there's always this like smile, just like
Yeah, right.
you
You
like
can tell it's
sit up.
authentic.
It's like a jolt of energy. You smile, you sit up. Like I know that feeling from just talking family.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Man, I do. Even like the fun of the sport, all that, bro. Like, again, thank you for coming in, man. I ain't gonna steal too much more of your time, man.
You got to get out of here, man.
Yeah, Ari told me this was gonna be a great one, man. I don't want to steal too much
didn't
for
disappoint.
you at all. My dog didn't. Thank you,
Thank you,
brother.
brother. I appreciate it. Thank y'all.